Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So we've got a couple of things to talk about. Nothing huge, but again, keep you guys updated with everything that we have that is new. So first of all, just happened a couple of hours ago, that is we did get this new image from Netflix Avatar. This is from the magazine Total Film. So this is now, the magazine is now out if you do want to get it, but my recommendation would be if you want to get this for the Avatar segment, don't. I saw what the segment is. It's tiny. It's like 2-3 paragraphs. This is the only new screenshot. Otherwise, it includes, I think, one screenshot that we've already seen. Effectively, they have given away for free the kind of main event of the article, because there's a bit of an interview, but it's literally like 2 or 3 comments from the showrunner. And if you read the EW interviews, it's the exact same thing. So I know I tend to not particularly be super invested in interview content, but I do think it was particularly notable how unnotable the interview actually was. So I would say save your money. Maybe if you're in a shop and you do see the magazine, check just see what's going on. Though I think this is one of those magazines where like it comes in, like it's in plastic, so you can't even kind of flick through it. But anyway, that's that. This is the image that we have. So it's cool. Like, it's another image of just Aang, of course. Pretty nice look at the tattoo again, and probably more notably here, the staff. You get a pretty close-up look at it, though I still would like to see a very detailed view of it, sort of like directly facing the camera, just because it's like, this is meant to be the glider staff that's meant to open out into the glider, and just looking at it here, I can't obviously see what's going on in terms of, like, you know, this prop. Is this one here maybe just solid because this is the one he maybe uses when he's just using it as a staff? Do they actually have a physical prop for the glider scenes? And then is there at any opportunity the chance that they've made one that manages to kind of fold out somehow? Because you can sort of see around here, it looks like there's some kind of indentations in the wood here, but is that part of some mechanism? It's hard to say, because I would initially look at this and just think, yeah, I think this is just like a very detailed staff that is just used for kind of walking around. You could probably swing it around pretty nice. That's what's going on there. But I'd say the tattoo, which I kind of had some issues with in like the first image we saw, I think every time we've seen it since, it just seems a little bit better. Just the angle, maybe the lighting from that initial shot made it look a little bit weird. I think it looks a lot better there in kind of a more naturally kind of, I suppose, lit kind of scene. So, you know, that's all there I think really is to say about this, because it is just one screenshot. But I will say, like, I also added in, I'll highlight this as well, where it is one of those things where, you know, if it was animated content material, I'd be like, yeah, I'll get the magazine. With this, even before I knew what was actually in the article, I was still kind of like, even to just buy the digital issue for the like 3-4 kind of euro it is probably, I was just like, nah, I don't need this, because there's not going to be anything hugely significant in terms of a quote that they get from the showrunner, or even if there's 1 or 2 more screenshots that are exclusive, there's nothing that I think would, to me, be so valuable that I'd want to buy the magazine just for that. And at this point, like, what I want to see from the show is the main trailer and then the show itself. Just, these are the 2 things that I want from this show. I'm a little bit at the point now where I'm like, I think I've seen enough screenshots. Unless you have something really new to show me in a screenshot, I think I've seen enough of, like, sort of the main cast members. I want to see some dialogue. I want to see some actual clips. That's where I'm at now as we go into the final couple of weeks. The final thing I'll say on this is just that, because we are getting somewhat close to release, when are we expecting the main trailer? If you look to Netflix One Piece as an example, they released their main trailer, I think it was basically 5-ish weeks before the launch of Netflix One Piece. And if we do that pretty similarly here, about 5 weeks, that would mean that, you know, the week basically from the 15th of January to like the 22nd or whatever, that week is probably in or around where we would maybe expect them to release it. They might just say like end of January, make it a month before release. But the Netflix one, I think, is 5 weeks, if I remember correctly. So we're getting to the stage where we're maybe only like a week, 2 weeks away from the trailer, assuming they don't wait and do it pretty late. But I think most people have pointed out that Netflix do tend to do a pretty similar rollout for like all of their shows. They don't tend to really switch up how they do the kind of marketing that much. So yeah, in or around a month before will be when we do get to see it. Then I have a minor potential update on this. I'm hesitant to even maybe bring this up, and it's why I'm not really mentioning this in like the title or anything like that, because I don't really know what it means. To some degree, I don't really even know what to make of this overall, because in the few times I've referenced this since we first heard about this is basically the movie is now undated. But you'll note that no other major website has made a big deal about this, posted about this, also kind of come out and been like, oh, we agree, our sources also tell us that this is the case. We just have not had an update to suggest anything about this. So I've always been like, the takeaway from this is that the movie has apparently become undated. It apparently is not October anymore. That it's not really super fully confirmed, but because of a lot of stuff going on in like the entertainment industry in general, layoffs at Avatar Studios, the fact that other Paramount movies have had their release date kind of switched up a little bit, it would probably suggest that everything pushes Avatar on a little bit. The slight update I have on this is just that I was contacted on Twitter. Someone DM'd me and basically said that, hey, someone who follows me basically DM'd me telling me this, and I feel you should know. So this is effectively kind of third-hand information. So there's a little bit of kind of telephone going on here where like this was relayed to someone else who then relayed it to me. But I think the core of this should be somewhat easy enough to understand. And the idea is that the initial person contacted The Numbers. That's what this website is. It is thenumbers.com. Contacted them, and I'm guessing just asked, like, what's the deal with this? Like, where does this come from? I haven't seen it anywhere else. And they did get a response, and the gist of the response seemed to be that this is not information that's, like, officially from Paramount. But they have apparently a couple of sources that seem to lean in the direction of this, which is why they posted this. But they then sort of like added in the idea that, let me get this correct, that actually I think it's kind of more likely that this is maybe slightly misworded and maybe doesn't represent what the news actually is. And they kind of went on to sort of explain that the idea here more is that, well, the thing known as Untitled Avatar: The Last Airbender, that is undated. And that's where the issue is coming from. And that actually, in a way, like, this is going by a different working title, which hasn't been delayed. And it's this really confusing situation where what seems to potentially have happened here is that we have had a behind-the-scenes sort of like working title name change for the movie that this site has chosen to report on by basically saying the name that isn't the name anymore, because it doesn't exist anymore, it doesn't have a release date. And that's what's happened here. Because, and this is where you can actually use the website to maybe see what's happening here. These are all links here in blue. So if you click on this, where you go is this, and it goes nowhere. It doesn't go to a page called Untitled Avatar: The Last Airbender. It just goes to this. So there's no page for that movie because that name doesn't exist. But if you look on the website for an Avatar movie, they have a page, but it's the untitled animated Aang Avatar film. And you'll note that in brackets here in the title, they have 2025. But then they also still have the October 10th and October 9th date for like other regions and stuff like that. Whereas if this is completely 100% accurate, shouldn't it say undated on this page? And it's a weird situation where why haven't they updated that to say this? But if, as the person who got the response kind of is relaying to us, it is more of a situation where, like, I guess this page just is always worded in this way where, like, it announced a new release date and they maybe, for whatever reason, chose to report a title change as a date kind of change is kind of weird. So again, it's confusing, it's weird. I don't know if I even explained that particularly well, but that is what was relayed to me. And so my takeaway from this, and I think probably the takeaway that most people should have from this, is probably to, one, the initial news of just this, as is presented, as we've had for the last couple of weeks, take it with a grain of salt. We don't know for absolute certainty that the movie has been delayed or undated, whatever way you want to call it. I think everyone has taken it to be some sort of a delay just because everything else surrounding the situation would seem to point in that direction. But also I would say about the update that I just presented there, take that with a grain of salt as well, because I think the wording of the kind of quote that I saw that they were given from the website is like, they weren't even sure themselves. Now, obviously the idea is, I'm guessing, potentially multiple people are involved in this website. Whoever directly posted this, got the rumors suggesting this, and whoever responded to the email or whatever might be different people, and they might not know for absolute certainty what exactly the logic was behind this. But either way, it's just this idea of we're dealing with pretty unconfirmed information, and unless it is direct, absolute, with certainty, Avatar Studios official information from official sources like Nickelodeon, Paramount, or Avatar Studios themselves, you do have to sort of slightly question most information that comes out about the movie. So what it means is that the October 10th date is likely not dead, because even this website still has it there and doesn't seem to have updated it. And again, for whatever reason, they treat their pages as being related to like the title of the movie rather than just like a page for the movie, and then the name of it will change. Weird way to do it. I think it's very misleading if that is in fact what has actually happened here, and they probably should update this to note that. But I think, again, in the middle of all of this is sort of the idea that, actually, look, while we're here, let's look at this. So October, yeah, you can see here in their just schedule page, they still have on October 10th. Now under this title, they have this movie still here. So I feel the information I've been presented probably is the actual situation. Now, it's weird. I don't really understand why they potentially work their website in that way. And I still maintain they should probably update this page, just because this is what most people reported on, including myself. Because I think there's very few interpretations of this that in any way direct you to the idea that the significance here is the title being different. Everyone was focused on the idea of, wait, the October date is gone, when they actually just meant that no movie under this exact title will come out. And it's like, well, of course, a movie with Untitled is never going to be the actual name for it. And the fact that it's been switched to a different thing called Untitled makes it seem even weirder, where it's like, when it actually gets a title, will they say that this title is then undated and there'll be a new page made for the actual movie title? I guess so, just because of the way it works, but it's It's an odd one. It's certainly an odd one. But yeah, just to sum that up again, be somewhat skeptical of any Avatar Studios news unless it's absolutely confirmed. That's the main thing to say. And to kind of double down on that, again, we have to address the idea that just a few days ago, we got the official Avatar Studios website. Now, it didn't mention anything about, one, Avatar Studios, two, any Avatar Studios project, or a lot of other stuff. But it was a step in the right direction. And since I did my video, it has been found out that in the code of the website, there is the mention of basically the October 2025 date. Now, it's slightly different, but if you look in the kind of script section here on the bottom in the code, you can see over here, it says date created 2025, and then it continues on to the next line, 10/11. Now, straight away, that's a little bit weird because it's like, okay, so it's year, month, day. So it's 2025, October the 11th? The day afterwards, and then they double down on that again here where they have start date 2025 10/11. So that's weird because previously the movie was 2025 10/10 or 10/9 if you're in one of those European countries that has been mentioned as being in already. And then do note it also says here like a type movie. So there is some reference in the code on this website to the idea of there being a movie. Now, that obviously leads to nothing being publicly facing on the actual website that you can actually see because it's just code, and it seems like it's more placeholder stuff for when they eventually do have something to maybe a banner to put up potentially to cover details about the movie. So whenever the website does get an update, this information about the date here could change by the time it actually comes around, but it is interesting that that date is there in the code for the official website. That's just the news to have there. And then just to make it clear, because I have had some people say like, hey, why are you making such a big deal about the October date? It's not like that was made a big deal of. Like, most people didn't know about it. And I'm kind of like, actually, it's probably the most concrete and really obvious piece of information that they actually put out there that is super public about Avatar Studios, because it's one of the only times something directly related to the movie is just out there on like official Avatar social media. So this is the official Avatar Instagram account, and you can see here they just posted an image last year that was just October 10th, 2025. The Journey of Avatar continues in theaters, so it's the movie. We know what this is because we knew the movie, the date, this date before then. Now, admittedly, there's not a lot of context here, but the important piece of context behind this is that this time period was when CinemaCon happened, which was when the image was revealed to the people at CinemaCon. The image that we did eventually get to see, though we weren't meant to see, which remains the one proper image of Avatar Studios content that we actually have. And I think it's just interesting the kind of saga around this date that there is now, but that it does seem like it's not dead, this date. At the very least, it's not dead because this website says this. It might be gone for like other reasons whenever we get like an official update in the future. So very much like, don't be shocked when we maybe do hear the movie has been delayed to later in 2025 or into 2026, because it might be happening, but it's not confirmed. That's the main thing to get across here. So apologies that this is maybe a little bit longer than usual video just to cover relatively small news, but I wanted to make sure to cover this situation in quite a lot of detail. Just because like I don't want to show this stuff that I was kind of sent privately. I think it's fine to like obviously like talk about the core thing that I was presented with, but I don't really want to just like be showing my own like DMs and stuff like that. But just to present that idea that like that seems to be the case potentially, and as I pointed out, on at least 2 pages on the website here, the actual page for the Avatar film, and their own page for just the release schedule, if we just go to it sort of like normally and scroll down to October 2025, they still have it there, just under this different title here, which is Untitled Animated Aang Avatar Film versus just Untitled Avatar The Last Airbender. Why they did this, I don't know, but we'll see what to actually make out of that. But in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. Do you have any thoughts on the new image from Total Film for Netflix Avatar? Do you have any thoughts on when the trailer will actually drop? Your thoughts on this whole issue as I explained it, and what do you make of the whole situation where this page says this thing, but other pages say other things, and the fact that the website in the code has the at least the day after the release date, it has an October 2025 date in the code. And of course, we know that that is the official date. So let me know your thoughts on that, but that has been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.